Hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, it's another, not live from the casa, but the new Get Your Fish On show. And I can tell you right now, this screen protector is going to piss me off. But welcome back. If you're new, I'm Steve Chapman, and I used to do the radio show, Fish in Florida Radio, for 10 or 12 years. Since the COVID, and that's what I'm calling it now, the COVID, we do this here until what you'll see soon possibly is a full blown out studio and Mike back in with me and trying to do this on a weekly occurrence, maybe in the evenings, sometime when we're both free. But for the time being, right now, this is what we're doing. We're doing this as a podcast show. Because in all honesty, that's the difference between what we've done for 12 years and this. This doesn't really, luckily, this is just my time that it takes. In most cases, we had to go up and pitch the show and do things like that to iHeartMedia, where we were on for, I can't even tell you how many years. Hey, Joe. 8 or 10 or 12 years. So that's why we're doing it here. And hopefully you guys like this and subscribe and be part of the family and comment and so forth. There's some great new technical stuff that's happening behind the scenes that I did a little test the other day that is really quite fantastic and is going to take this little podcast show, this so-called show, to the next level. Kind of like what we did with the radio show. You know, we did the radio show for X amount of years out there and distributed it all over and syndicated all over Florida. And that's the goal of what we have here. Today, though, where there's going to be this could be, quite honestly, this could be a pretty long episode because we're going to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, the red snapper count and just how ridiculous the whole thing is. It's beyond ridiculous. So we're going to talk about that because that is something here in Florida that we have to deal with. We'll talk about the big news that happened last week for accredited media that got invited to the meeting for the Big Five, which is Major League Fishing is now kind of canceling FLW. So we'll talk about somewhat the history of how that works and my views and opinions and some facts about it. Because that's really what this comes down to. Everyone can give anybody can spout their opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But being truthful about it is the thing that doesn't happen as much as you'd want to think about or you'd even know. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bass News, Frank Talley, Patrick Walters, who I got his phone number. If they didn't have fishing the last 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure we'd have Patrick on the thing. And we'll try to get Frank on too. And then also Major League Fishing, not Major League Fishing, the Bass Elites are fishing right now. And I was going to pull up that. So while I'm thinking about it and getting ready, why don't I just need to say, first and foremost, I got to say thank you to a few sponsors that have been with us for, I don't even know how many years. Shimano, thank you. Yamaha Outboards, thank you. Engel Coolers, thank you. Costa Sunglasses, my God. I think Costa's been with us the whole time that we've been on here. Daiichi, the world's sharpest hooks. Hook Gear, of course, you see it there. And, of course, Tackle Webs. Clear the deck for battle. Other people that have sponsored and still part of the show, we still have the prize packs. I should say that. If you're interested in getting some of the prize packs, just email us, info@fishandfloridaradio.com, and I will send your information out to the right people, and we'll get you on that list because you can get some Starbright. Their products are great. I should even mention, Starbright's been with us for 6 or 7 years. They usually send out, I was going to get one. My son dumped again. Or he really didn't dump. He kept some hey Leonard, he kept some chocolate milk in a container that when we were going to swimming. And the container sat in the car outside for 2 or 3 weeks. And we were walking in the car and we were like, oh God, what the hell is going on in this car? It was like an alien, a beast had gotten in there. I mean, it was rancid. And we had found out that he had left his, in that little container, Um, he left some chocolate milk, and it funkified. I put one of the Startron. They have this little deodorizer thing. It's like a sponge. You wet the sponge. You open this pack. You stick the thing into the sponge, and then you just put that inside of your car for 4 to 6, sometimes 12 hours. Callan did it. Oh yeah, really. And you leave it in there, and then when you open your car, when you get in the car the next time, it's like completely beautiful. It's not rose petals by any means, but the funk was gone. And trust me, it was funk. It was the worst thing I've ever said in my life, smelt in my life. It was that bad. It was so bad. We had the windows open because we had some really nice days last week, and we were stopped at a car in the at a red light, and the person next to us said, "Dude, your car stinks." I'm not joking. It was that bad. Anyway, put that Startron thing. So we do have Startron's one of the product sponsors, so I thank them for those things, and I actually use 2 of them. It's that bad. I was gagging too. So thank you to them. So lots of things we're going to talk about. While I do a quick commercial, because we need to run these commercials because I'm getting in trouble for not doing them. I'm going to run this Costa commercial real fast. And when we get back, we will start talking about Red Snapper right off the bat. See you in a second. Why did you do that? I don't know if you know this. I got a new camera here, and the camera's blocking my view. Anyway, to start off, we have to start off. I was looking at the Bassmaster. Our boy, Brandon Palaniuk, having a fantastic day in second place right now in the Bass Track, which is great. Looks like a lot of the guys, Brandon Card, our good friend Brandon Card, Patrick Walters, Kyle Welcher, couldn't be happier for Kyle. A lot of really some of the big games. Bernie Schultz in fourth place. I mean, come on, Gerald Swindle. There's a lot of good guys. If you're missing it, it's live on ESPN right now. For years, this article I'm about to read this has been something that anglers have fought more and argued about nonstop. Because if you remember, I don't even know how many years ago, we had the red snapper ban, not ban, but the red snapper. The NOAA decided they were going to change our red snapper, how many we could catch. Remember, right now it's 3 days, and you're allowed 1 fish per person. In the Gulf, what it did was it just closed out a majority of what commercial fishermen and guides got to do, because there wasn't enough time to go out there and fish. And for years, we've been talking about someone needs to do some more research on making this correct. Well, this week, just 3 days ago, and this is the craziest thing, I haven't seen anything about this. Red snapper count reveals decades of NOAA inaccuracy. I'm going to read this just as it is. I haven't looked into it, but this makes sense. This week, the public and Congress finally heard why nothing seemed to add up in federal management of Gulf red snapper. As it turned out, NOAA just doesn't count snapper very well. After more of a decade of utter management chaos, Congress began to suspect the NOAA didn't know what it was doing, and so Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama appropriated $10 million for an intensive, independent assessment of red snapper numbers in the Gulf of Mexico by more than a dozen marine institutions around the country. This week, the Great Red Snapper Count, as it was called, revealed that while preliminary insists that of the 36 million red snapper NOA believed in population, there are really more than 3 times that number, or 100 million plus red snapper out there. Think about that. 100 million red snapper. Here's what they, with a conservative 6.5 pound average size, that comes to roughly 700 million pounds of snapper swimming in the Gulf, most of which NOA never knew was there. To put it in perspective, the current allowable catch for commercial harvester and recreational anglers is roughly 15 million pounds per year. They have, for years, killed us. NOAA has killed commercial fishermen. I'm not even worried about commercial fishermen. Fishing guides in general. We have known this for years, that their studies were shit. They were crap. I'm sorry I swore. They were crap. And this was unbelievable. This Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama is... I get up and applaud him for this, for him putting the money where his mouth is. He put $10 million for people to go out and research it. And now we know that there's over 700 million pounds of red snapper swimming in the Gulf, when we thought there were 30 or 40 or 50 million. I mean, I don't know what NOAA is absolutely doing. What do they get paid for? They came up with this study, and we knew that it was bogus to start off with. Hold on. So we knew that it was bogus to start off with. Sorry, I got a text. But they wouldn't listen to us. We asked for CCA to talk to them. We asked for Captains for Clean Waters, all these organizations to get involved in this. And it took a senator from Alabama to put the money up, $10 million, which is a ton of money, to prove that NOA just can't count. They just can't count. That's what it comes down to. And it really irritates me. It pisses me off, to be honest, because I know that my friend Philip Wilds has to, he could have a longer season to go catch snapper because, and I've been out fishing with him. He actually brings them to the back of the boat, and the back of the boat completely changes the color of the sea. It changes red. There's that many of it. Now imagine they're out there where they don't have the structure and the depth of water. Imagine what the East Coast is like. So I hope that somehow someone in Florida Senate can do something and get some money and put it out there to have independent people look at what our East Coast red snapper is. Because I can tell you, I fish with Jeff, and he's on here right now. You go out there, 6.5 pound fish. I don't even think I've seen a 6.5 pound fish in 4 years. I bet the average fish is 10, 11 pounds. Jeff has caught some 25, 30 pounders. We've never been able to see that, a size of a snapper that big. But you want to know why? Is there's just so little, there's so little time to catch them. Your time to catch them is minimum. How many you can bring in per person is ridiculous. And we need to have somebody independent look at it. And that's what it comes down to. That's the truth. Because if this study right here from Fishing Wire, and thank you, Fishing Wire, see how that changes me? If somebody can appropriate that kind of money and figure out that there's 700 million and we're allowed to take 15 million a year out, there's plenty for everybody. Now, I'm not saying it just opens up and everybody just goes free for all. I'm not saying that. But let's open it up and have a little bit more dates. And somebody get over to the East Coast and do what we're supposed to do over there. Because this proves Noaa is full of crap. They shouldn't be funded to count the fish stock. That's what it comes down to. This alone proves that they're crap. And it's hurt our fishing. It's hurt our guide service. It's hurt tourism. It's hurt everything all the way down. And it really irritates me. It almost irritates me as people saying that this is a so-called show. There you go. You didn't see it, but I did something bad. I mean, come on. Do your research. Do the research, man. Noah, do the research. You said you researched. You said this is what was happening. Now you need to come out and prove why. I want to see the numbers. I really do. I want to see what numbers you had for years that said the Gulf of Mexico had 100 million pounds of fish. I want to see those results. Because now it's 7 times that amount. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. And it's hurt a lot of guides. It's hurt a lot of guides. I know personally it's hurt guides. People have went out of businesses, corporations, that one out of Captain, I don't even know that the thing out of Pensacola or Panama City. They had giant charter fleets that now don't get the amount of people coming to them because the season is that short for going out and catching snapper. And if you would go with Philip, like I said, you go with Captain Phil, you would see a sight that is hard to behold. It's that many red snapper are out there. And if it's that many over there, I can only imagine how many it's over here. Man, I'm fired up, aren't I? Sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm running another commercial. When we get back, we're going to talk about the news with the Major League Fishing. We're going to do the tackle webs one. Here we go.
This is Jim. Jim loves fishing, boating, anything to do with time on the water. Whether on the flats with his buddies, cruising around with the family, or an early morning solo session on his kayak or paddleboard. His time on the water is important and what he looks forward to after a long week of work. But no matter what boat he is on, there never seems to be a good way to keep the gear he needs organized, secure, and easy to get to in a safe place. Until one day, he found out about tackle webs. With tackle webs, Jim can easily add durable, accessible storage to any of his vessels, wherever he needs his stuff. Now, Jim enjoys stress-free days on the water, no matter how much stuff his friends and family brings. Find out how tackle webs can help you at tacklewebs.com.
Okay, now that I'm off my high horse. Last week, Accredited Media got a advanced news of what Major League Fishing is doing. If you don't know about Major League Fishing is one of 2 or 3, I guess we can say 3 or 4 professional fishing outlets for anglers. And they started a few years ago. Actually, they started a long time ago. They started with their Summit Cups, and then because of the response and the excitement that they drew from the Summit Cups, they had an idea to start a professional fishing tournament. If you don't know the whole thing behind this, I'm just giving you a quick overview. And as we know, bass lost a lot of their great anglers. And it was a weird summer 2 years ago. We had people fighting with Major League Fishing, and what we realize in the grand scheme of things is that anglers are exceptionally loyal to this sport. They are loyal to the people they watch. They're loyal to the people that they follow, and that, while we knew that for years, we didn't know how loyal they were. And a lot of people are not happy with what Major League Fishing has done. Last year, or no, maybe it was recently, Major League Fishing purchased FLW. Now, if you don't know FLW, FLW was founded in 1979, and it was called Operation Bass. Mike Whitaker was the owner of it, and he was offering anglers of all skill levels the opportunity to compete and win loads of money. That's the truth. It was first called Operation Bass, like I said, with Mike Whitaker. The first season started in 1980, and it was held. They held all their tournaments, 12 tournaments, in 2 states, and the winner got $20,000, which is still a ton of money. In 1996, Irwin Jacobs purchased the company and created FLW for the Forrest Cup Wood. FLW, Forrest L. Wood Cup, and for years it was one of the premier fishing series. They renamed it to FLW in 2001. They have the Pro Circuit, they have the Toyota, they have the Costa, they had all sorts of stuff. FLW also has a bass magazine, and this is really, when you start diving into it, this was one of the reasons why Major League Fishing purchased FLW. So what Major League Fishing now has done, since they've purchased FLW, they're combining all of them into the Major League Fishing umbrella. Now, I've heard some people are very upset that behind, I don't even know how to put it, that the people who have won in the past are just going to have their stuff just erased. No. I don't know who told you that, but that isn't how it works. The people who've won in the past have their trophies and they've won their money. Major League Fishing isn't just you just don't erase things. I mean, if that were the case, NFL and ABA and the NBA and all these other institutions that were started off kind of the same way, that were purchased by somebody else, you just don't have that. Wilt Chamberlain's statistics when he was in the ABA just didn't vanish. I don't even know if that's a correct term, but you know what I mean. There's people, or baseball. Baseball wasn't Major League Baseball years ago when it first started. It was another league. There was other leagues, and they all came together and made one league. What's different about Major League Fishing and bass is, for the first time, there's two big entities competing. And people don't like that, and understandably. Either you don't like the format or you don't like what happened. I can understand that. I can see that wholeheartedly. But Major League Fishing purchasing FLW, everybody and their mother should have known this was coming. This really isn't as big a news as I think Major League Fishing did, other than they're calling it the Big Five. So now Major League Fishing is going to be on top. You're going to have your Major League Fishing Pro Circuit, which was the FLW Pro Circuit, and on and on. Major League Fishing purchased FLW because of the amount of anglers that are in the group. It makes them the largest fishing tournament there is. Bass has the elites, and they have their opens and their opens, and they have their high school events, college events, but still doesn't put as many FLW anglers into the thing. Major League Fishing needed to have the FLW anglers to bring in new people into Major League Fishing, because quite honestly, if we're seeing the same people year after year in Major League Fishing, that sport will never grow. One of the things Bass has done exceptionally well is Bass has made their name in producing some of the greatest anglers we know to date. There is no Kevin Van Dam without Bass. There isn't. There's no Gerald Swindle without Bass. There's no Ike and Ellie. Most of these guys got their name in Bass. Now, they did well in FLW in the past. I mean, look at Jason Christie. Phenomenal in FLW. Phenomenal at Bass. Major League Fishing, he's still one of the best anglers in the world, but these guys made their name. And what I'm trying to say here is that even though Major League Fishing has now purchased and now really gotten rid of FLW, it doesn't take away from the accomplishments that anglers have had on FLW. They still have the trophy. We still are going to remember all the great things that they did. It's just a name change. It's just like Get Your Fish On. For years, Fishing Florida Radio. Then the COVID happened. That's what I call it. I'm sorry. It's called the COVID. Then the COVID happened. And we changed it to Live from the Casa because I'm here at my house. Mike and I had talked about it for years about changing the name because it was hindering what we were doing. So then it came Get Your Fish On, the podcast here. And we're going to grow that. But that's what Major League Fishing did. They've changed the name of an organization that they own. You might not like the logo, which is ridiculous. You might not like the format. But you can't really take away what Major League Fishing has done. To keep it real, when Major League Fishing was its own entity and didn't have a tournament, a majority of us loved the format of what was going on. We loved the drama that happened in the television shows. Major League Fishing, when they had their cup stuff, and you didn't know where they were fishing, and the excitement that brought, really added a different perspective to fishing and bass fishing tournaments. And there are so many of us that loved it. However, when they decided to make their tournament status, we kind of felt like somebody slapped us in the face. We felt like, you want to know, why are these guys leaving? Now, truth be told, there were issues between Bass and the anglers. And Bass had to really look at themselves and kind of check out and see what was going on. And Bass made a humongous change in the way that they're doing things. They had to, now they're paying all their anglers and giving incentives and other things. They needed to do that. And I've said it in the past few, the new episodes here and the past ones. There are going to be a lot of people that, not a lot, but I think there'll be 5, 6, or 7 people that are in the Major League Fishing that are going to go back to the elites. And there's nothing wrong with that. We talked to Brandon Palaniuk and Gerald Swindle at the St. John's this year, and both of them said they kind of felt pressured to go to Major League Fishing. And both of them, if I'm going to really keep it real, I was real adamant to Brandon that not that I thought it was a mistake, but I thought he would be better at the elites, with the elites. That's the God's honest truth. Brandon and I talked about it the first event on Lake Toho. It's something I probably have never said because I don't know if I needed to say it, and it's his decision, and I'm definitely not, I mean, he and I are friends, but he isn't taking advice from me. But I thought him moving to Major League Fishing was kind of a problem. That's the truth. Because of where Brandon was, there were a few anglers that I didn't think should go to Major League Fishing. That's the God's honest truth. I thought Brandon Palaniuk was one. I thought Justin Lucas was one. I was really surprised on Jordan Lee. But there were a few anglers that I just thought, not that the format was so weird and different with Major League Fishing, but what they had accomplished at Bass was so big that moving on and moving over was just not in their best interest. Now, they felt pressure. The sponsors wanted it. All sorts of stuff that could be why they had to move. We know that Brandon and Gerald both said they felt pressure to move on. Now they've moved back. I think both of them agree that moving back was one of the better things that they've done in their careers. Now, that's not saying that some of the guys that are in Major League Fishing are loving it. To be honest, Justin Lucas said it a few weeks ago on here. I love what I'm doing on Major League Fishing. I love it. And he should stay there. If he loves it and can make money and help his family, there's nothing wrong with it. So Major League Fishing, when Major League Fishing purchased FLW, there should have been no surprise to everybody. And then taking and removing FLW and putting it all under the umbrella of Major League Fishing, there should be nothing for that either. Really talking about it kind of just irritates me. I will say Major League Fishing, it's been a hard time to do media events with them. Accredited, they got, I don't even know, 15 or 20 or 30 accredited media people, and had the meeting last week and asked us what they could do to make things better for them. I've been very vocal to owners of Major League Fishing on the issues that I had. Now, when I say me personally, I mean, Okeechobee was a disaster for me. I rented a car for 5-6 days, drove down to Okeechobee every day. And that's not like a little drive for me. It's 2.5 hours at least. I mean, if I had a police escort, I could probably get down there and do things a lot better, faster, but I didn't. But I didn't have as Robert put, the access to the anglers that I thought I wanted to have. And now with this meeting that they had, they're going to do a bunch of stuff. They're gearing up for a massive Red Crest in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is at the end of February, and they want the media out there. They're trying to be more media friendly. It's one of the things that what made if I go back and think about now, I'm not taking anything away from any FLW angler at all. None. I mean, no disrespect. One of the things that FLW didn't do well was they didn't really, not that you have to do anything for the media, but you never knew who really won the tournaments. You didn't have the media push that Bass had. Bass has always been exceptional at keeping us informed as media people, and I consider myself a media person. I consider myself a fan first, but also a media person. But they keep us, the media people, exceptionally knowledge and give us a ton of information so that we know what's going on. And FLW didn't do that. And I think, in my opinion, I think it's what was hurting FLW. Because there are some guys on FLW that flat out can fish. There's a lot of them that can't. No offense. Some of them get in there, go 3 or 4 years, and just do crap. That's understandable. At least they tried. You got to give it up for that. But their FLW just was never good at relaying stuff to the media. Now they've done a much better job of it, to be honest. The amount of emails I get from FLW and Major League Fishing since Major League Fishing took over is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I didn't realize how many tournaments there was going on throughout the country in FLW. That's the God's honest truth. It's 3 or 4, up to 7 emails a week, it seems like, even during the COVID. So while I'm still a full, no offense to Major League Fishing, I'm still behind Bass fully. I think Bass the format's good. I like what they're doing is exceptional. The announcers I love. I think they do a great job. Major League Fishing, I enjoyed the Major League Fishing, the cups, more than I enjoy the tournament series. And it's only because Major League Fishing is designed to be a television show. That's what you have to realize. It's designed to be a television show. I wish the NPFL all the success in the world. I think having Fat Cat on there would be amazing. Not sure about Luke, but I think he'll probably do a pretty good job. I'm not a fan anymore. I can say it bluntly and honestly. I said something. I regret saying it, and it blew up kind of in my face, and I could go into much more detail, but I'm not going to. I wish him the best of luck. I think he's going to have a lot. I think both of them are going to get critiqued beyond belief. And if they come out and have all their stuff put together and know the anglers and that kind of stuff, they'll be perfectly fine. The problem is they're just I don't know anybody on the NPFL. I just don't know anybody. You want to know? I know 3 people. I know 3 people out of all of the 70 or 80 or 90 people so far. And that's when Major League Fishing made this jump, one of the things they had is they had the names behind them. So I think I wish, well, I'm not even going to go into it anymore. Let me read. That's because Bass was the first in the game and understood early the importance of the media to plug into fans. Yes. That's what it comes down to. The media is, you can like the media, you can hate the media. I don't consider myself the mainstream media like Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. We're not that. But what I do try to do is I try to make sure that I keep it real and honest. And if I don't know an answer, I'll be the first one to tell it to you, or I'll find it out for you. That is the truth. Here recently, now that we have, Bass is going on their second week, congrats to Patrick Walters for winning the Eastern Open on Hartwell. He punched his ticket to the Classic. That'll be his third. That was his third Bassmaster victory, and he won $42,000. So that was cool. Frank the Tank won last week, which was absolutely crazy on Gunner. I think it was Gunnersville won the elite tournament on Gunnersville. They have another tournament right now, and then they have the next tournament right now. They're on the Santee Cooper Lakes. No clue where that is, but it looks like they're having Carl Jacobson is just smashing them. He's got a 5-pound average. He's smashing fish right now out there. So they have a tournament this week and then a tournament next week. We'll try to get 1 or 2 of the guys on and have them on here and start. So Bass, like Craig said, Bass has been exceptional about keeping us informed. And like I said, I don't think I'm the mainstream media, but, we're kind of like an entertainment bass fishing thing. That's what this is. Like it or don't like it. I understand it. But, you know, we try to do the best we can. We've done it for years, like I said. I hate saying by the way. I've got a couple new episodes that I'm going to work on. We are going to do what it takes to become a professional angler. I've reached out to a few people. They are going to do some recorded interview stuff with me, and I'll make it into one big, long show that you guys can, if you've ever thought about becoming that, it'll be great. Craig says Santee is a monster lake in South Carolina. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. One of the things Bass has also done is Bass, the last 2 years, has put these guys in great places to go fishing to showcase some of the best anglers available. That is the key that Bass has done. Major League Fishing kind of had to go out and be proactive and try to go to places where maybe the fishing wasn't as good as we did. Because the first year, the big critique on Major League Fishing was all they did was catch small fish. They started a new rule where it was a 2-pound fish this year, and they had some absolutely jam-packed, amazing fishing. But it's still Bass is best. Bass is still the king, in my opinion. I mean, no disrespect to Major League Fishing anglers, and they all know that. But Bass is still the best, in my opinion. I want to just look through my notes. We talked about Major League Fishing is doing a lot of what the NFL did. Do you know what the NFL's original mission statement was? Raise the standard of professional fishing in every way to eliminate bidding for players between rival clubs. Does that not sound like what Major League Fishing is doing? Raising the standard of professional fishing in every way. Now, are they doing it? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. Like I said, Bass is still king. But we've realized that anglers are unbelievably loyal, and we've seen two giant groups who are competing. No offense, we have the FLW former anglers that and all the anglers and the majority are just as good as elites in MLF, but they're still widely unknown. Next year, MPFL comes on board trying to make another league to the elite level, while charging still the most per tournament with a majority of the anglers no one has heard of. And there isn't much crying going on. Nobody's really crying about NPFL starting up. It's the old AFL deal versus upstart versus giant. Craig, if I had your number, and I'd give you a link so you could come on here and talk about that directly. I think most people aren't mad with MPFL because there aren't anglers just leaving and going over there. Let's be honest, they're not. The name brands are not. The name people are not over MPFL. Now, having said that, does it mean that they don't have great anglers? No, they have probably fantastic anglers, but the names are the names. A lot of people follow just the names. That's the truth. Okay, so we are going to do. Let me get back into the rhythm of this thing. We are doing a professional angler. What it takes to become a professional angler. I've started it. I'm going to get some interviews with some pro anglers and hear their sides of what you should do if you ever thought about becoming a professional angler, how to get involved in it, how starting off on maybe at the lower ends and working your way up isn't the worst thing because you can still continue your job, but jumping in straight head with full force, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it is a tough industry to break into. Sponsorships are extremely tough. Coming from somebody who has a very small part of a business that's in the industry, we look at everything that it takes for us to sponsor an angler. Everything. And there's a lot of people we have to turn down. We've turned down a majority of people. But as a business owner, what is business owners looking for to get that sponsorship deal? So we'll talk about that a little bit too. If you don't know, Aaron Martin's fishing tournament and auction is ongoing. I ask you to do Aaron a favor. Go to amartcharitytournament.com. I think I can put it on here. Hold on. Overlays, new text overlay. I'm going to put the website up here. amartcharitytournament.com. I'm going to add it right now. There it is. If you can do me a favor, you might not be able to bid on anything. Aaron has been a very close friend of mine for years. Maybe not close friend, but more than just an acquaintance. I am a massive fan of Aaron Martin's. I joke around and call him AA Ron. I shouldn't do that. I regret doing that. Aaron has been dealing with cancer and a whole bunch of other stuff, and they're having a charity tournament and auction. And the tournament and really the auction is freaking unbelievable. You should see the stuff in the auction. But if you can go over there, check it out, that's all you can do. If you can't bid on something, that's understandable. I can't bid on anything because I'm a baller angler on a budget. But I would love to be part of it, but it just isn't in the framework of what I do. They have some auctions with anglers and some other great stuff. And if you can just give them some love, even just going and following them and telling them that you're thinking of them, that's all it comes down to. Like my buddy Butch here. Butch has been fighting cancer for years. And Butch is a very close friend of mine. Butch knows stuff about me that you might be surprised. He knows my family. I know his family. And people that are dealing with cancer, they just need a little bit of just telling them that you're thinking of them. Like, Butch doesn't know this, but my son and I and Sonia say a prayer for him almost every day. That's the truth. We say a prayer for him. He's a very close friend. Now, we don't do as many prayers for Aaron, but we do pray for him. But if you can go over there and just check out what's going on, it's amartcharitytournament.com. And it would really be great because just tell them that you're thinking of them. That's all. That's all it comes down to. It's just telling them what you're thinking about them. We have to say thank you to AIG Insurance. I'm going to put that up there right now. You can see that for the rest of the show. AIG has been sponsoring the show for ages. So another topic of you want to know? I'm going to run another commercial because then I can get a drink of water. So let's run the Optima commercial now let's run the Shimano Corrado. Hold on. Here we go.
Introducing Shimano DC Braking. Digital control will provide trouble-free casting to all anglers. DC will greatly improve the casting and therefore the fishing experience for anglers of all skill levels. Make long, accurate casts regardless of wind speed or direction. DC Brake provides trouble-free casting with a wide range of lures by simply adjusting the external dial. Even challenging casts are now within reach for all anglers. The newest innovation in braking systems, Shimano DC Brake.
I hate to admit that I can throw a bait caster because of the Shimano DC. I know you guys are probably saying to yourself, never in a million years. Yeah, I can throw a bait caster because of it. There we go. There's a bunch of great things out there. I'm going to move this up to this corner, I think it looks probably better there. Okay, so there you have it. Craig said you can go to the auction. The website is amartcharity.com. There you go. Thank you, Butch, for correcting me. I'm starting to do some different videos, to be honest. I'm thinking about doing a video on new baits, on the success of making a great new bait, what it entails. Is it about catching us or is it about catching fish? So I'm thinking about doing that. I've got a frog fishing video. I think I might have talked about it. The frog fishing video has taken me 8 months. That's the God's honest truth. And I haven't even filmed most of it. I'm actually comparing 3 different frogs against each other and in different price points on what makes the best kind of frog. And to be honest, there's a couple. I started this in February, December, I don't even know, January, February, March, in that range. And I hate saying and it's taken a lot of time because I'm trying to do it right, but also try to do it statistically, because that's really, if you don't know me real well, I am a statistic person. I like to look into research, because that's what I did for a background before doing graphics. There for a little bit, I was a research assistant for someone I can't talk about. So I'm really good at doing background research on products and people. And so I'm going to do the research on that, and I'm trying to do it statistically so we can, because one day the fishing's different than the other day. Needless to say, there's a frog. I think probably the best video I've ever done is going to be about the frogs. That's the God's honest truth. But we're going to do that. We've got a bunch of closer looks. The amount of closer looks that are, let me see if this is done videos. Yes, closer looks. It's really ridiculous how far ahead I am on closer looks. That's the God's honest truth. I've been working in the middle of the night to get things done and record things and try to do them right. And I'm probably 10 or 12, maybe 13 or 14 ahead. I could actually do a bunch and just blow them out, and hopefully you guys would like them. But there's some great ones. It's going to start off with the Hog Farmer T-Spin, the Lunker Hunt Popping Bug. Oh, that one's done. I don't need to do that one again. The Zorus Asturi Topwater Pencil. You probably have never heard of that one. That one is pretty epic as an angler, to be honest, because that bait is exceptional at walking. I've never seen a bait. First, I've never had a bait that casts better. But it is, sorry, there you go. It is amartcharitytournament.com. But you probably have never heard of the Zorus Asturi. That's the truth. It's something that's been unbelievably popular in France and other places. They're just starting to make their way here into the United States, and it casts like a dream. I mean, it's a bullet. I mean, it's a bullet out of your hands. We have the 6 Sense. Is that, I don't even have the name on it. I don't even know what that one is. 6 Sense Vega Frog, it might be. Yeah, it must be the Vega Frog, hollow body frog, which is pretty. It's as good as any frog. There's one flaw in it, but other than that, it's pretty good. We have the Flicker Shad. We have the Head and Slop Nose, which we have the Arc Topwater, Spool Tech, Fatty, and a list of them that goes on and on that I'm still working on right now. So there are unbelievable. There's an unbelievable amount of closer looks done. I'm trying to do some extra fishing too, to do some fishing stuff in here. I'd love to hear if there's something you'd like to see me do, or if you want to help me do it. By all means, send me an email, steve@fishingfloridaradio.com. That's going to change very soon. We're going to have a new website. We're slowly working on. Mike and I have had. We were up till, I don't even know how late it was last night, talking out things. There's some really humongous things that are going on for Get Your Fish On and for Mike and I. And even there's some awesome products that are coming out from Mike. Wait till you see some of them. And hopefully I can really, I should have went and gotten some of the new products. I could have showed you them today. I don't know if they're available to purchase yet, but I know they're here, and they're pretty damn good. And they're pretty cool. They're pretty awesome. I'm actually waiting for a delivery from Boyd Duckett and Molix. They had a big, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. They had a big media event. I wouldn't say big, but they had a media event. Maybe that's the best way to put it, because saying big media event is probably lying. And I don't want to do that. But they had a media event, and they're sending out a bunch of stuff. I'm supposed to get it tomorrow. Tackle Warehouse is sending a bunch of stuff to me today. I'm supposed to get the Molix stuff today. Tackle Warehouse is doing it tomorrow. So lots of great things upcoming. I'm trying to keep up with as much of the stuff as I can. I'm sorry if these go on once. Sometimes these are going to be once a week. Sometimes these are going to be every other week. The problem is it's a lot I've got notes and notes and notes down. And, it's just really, to keep it real, it's really hard to do some of these. Because like yesterday, I wanted to do this yesterday, but I had a catalog that I needed to get done. And the catalog just unfortunately came first. No, it's just how it is. I've been trying to think, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this. There's 3 massive tournaments next year. The Red Crest is the end of February in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In March 10th through 12th on Lake Eufaula, give or take, is the first National Professional Fishing League tournament. And then, of course, the Classic is in March 19th through 21st in Fort Worth, Texas. I'd like to cover, I'm pretty sure I'm covering the Classic. I've got an invitation to cover the Red Crest, and they've offered rooms and other things possibly. But I would also like to cover the NPFL first tournament because I'd like to see how the whole thing goes off, get an in-depth, closer look at what's happening. So if you guys, here I'm going to throw this out. If you guys had to go to 2 events, 2 of those 3 events, which 2 would they be? Now, don't Major League Fishing disregard the room stuff. That getting up there and doing that's really not that big of a deal. If you had to go to one, would you go to Red Crest in Tulsa, Oklahoma? Would you go to Lake Eufaula? By the way, I've never been to Lake Eufaula, so that's always a good one. For the National Professional Fishing League first tournament, and the last but not least, would you go to the Classic? Which 2 ones would you go? If you could. The backpack, thanks Butch. The backpack is amazing, but there's something else. I think I might be able to. Maybe not. I can't put it up. There's another new item that Mike's got that Tackle Webs, the Team Tackle Webs as we like to call it, has come out. So you'll see it soon. Kristen said just tuned in. Which one? So there's the 3 tournaments. Which one should I go to? Which 2 should I go to? That's the key. I'm pretty sure if I go to Red Crest, Les and Mike are probably involved. Lake Eufaula, that's going to be just me. Classic, it could be a team event. I don't know what's going to go on. So tell me which one you think. Lake Eufaula is awesome. Well, I didn't know that. I think Lake Eufaula in March, I'm hoping it isn't horribly cold, but I hope that it's also big fish. To keep it real, NPFL could really do a great job if they could, their first tournament, and Luke and Fat Cat do what they do and kill it. That could be a fantastic way to start off for NPFL. I hope that they do it. Dude, it's big fish. I didn't know that. Yeah, then that's a great place to go. Hopefully it's in the spawn, and hopefully that's a great place for them to start off with, because really NPFL could really use that. So let's hope for the best. Oh, I didn't know. Craig is Lake Ray Roberts is very underrated of the Texas lakes. Eufaula is a phenomenal lake, but will also be pretty cool lake temps. Yeah, that really has an influence on the fishing. I mean, years ago we went to the Classic and it was like 6 or 7 degrees. I was on the boat with Brandon Palaniuk for that year. Can't even get me going on that deal. But that was the coldest I've ever been in my life. I had to borrow Patrick Sebeil's. I think Butch was with us that year. I had to borrow Patrick Sebeil's ice fishing suit, and Patrick Sebeil's about 7 or 10 inches shorter than I am. So I looked like I was waiting for a flood. They came up to like mid ankle, the shorts, the pants. I'm not joking. They didn't even cover my socks. That's the truth. That's how much difference there was in both of us. But I wore it because I was worried about catching hypothermia on the boat. Now, I didn't know that I would get bundled up and have 14 layers of stuff on, and we were going to go 25 seconds off the boat ramp. I didn't know that. If I would have known that, I would have just worn a hook jacket, and that would have been it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you. Hopefully you guys subscribe to the channel. Go over there, youtube.com, and subscribe to the channel. And again, most of the stuff is opinions and stuff, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody or do any of that stuff. You know, there's too many egos in this industry. That's the problem. The egos in this industry are ridiculous. I mean, they're really ridiculous. And I don't have time for it. I could go off on somebody. I really want to go off on somebody, but I'm not going to. But I wish them the best. I do wish them the best. I'm just not going to talk about them. So anyway, guys, I hope you are healthy, happy, and able to go fishing. Yeah, no doubt the boats were stuck on the trailers. He remembers. That was the funniest thing about that. They were dunking the boats into the water and pulling them out, thinking that the water was going to make them have lubrication or some sort, so they would just slide right off. The problem is they dunked the boat, back them, pull them out, and as they did, they were freezing to the boats. That's how cold it was that day. It was freezing. It was miserable. There's another story behind this. We had a crew that year, if I remember correctly. We had a crew of people. Tom Van Horn was one of them. He's a fishing guide here in Mosquito Lagoon, a very close friend. He went in I don't even know who he was in the boat with. He was a marshal for the day, a media marshal. Tom Van Horn came home back to the house, and he had taken 6 of the hottest baths. He was soaking himself in hot water. He was so cold. We went out to eat, or we got pizza or something. He was shaking the next day because he was so cold. It was that bad. He was that ill prepared for the weather that we had, because 6-7 degrees or whatever it was. Nobody expected that. Nobody really expected that. God, there's so many stories I could tell. So one of these days. Anyway, the new software, I'm going to continue working the new software, so you're going to see some new stuff. And guys, I appreciate everything that you guys do for the show, for me watching and all that stuff. The YouTube channel doesn't make really any money. I'm just doing it to try to hopefully help y'all become better educated anglers, because really, some of this crap that I review or do the closer looks on, I wouldn't buy it. I have bought it to do the review, but hopefully you don't fall into that trap too. There's one coming up. I should show you, but I'm going to tease you a little bit. Anyway, I hope you're happy, healthy, and able to go fishing. Let's remember to do a few things. Take a kid fishing. Get your fish on. Cheers. Later, guys.